You ain't never had a friend like me, but you've had a movie like this before.
Yeah, we have, actually. Sort of.
Maybe. Hey guys, we're the Cinefanatics. My name's Chris Adams.
Robert Adams.
And we are bringing you a review of Aladdin. Not the old cartoon, the new remake. Live action.
Because we all agree the old cartoon was awesome.
It's a classic.
I absolutely love the old cartoon.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you got a classic story of the boy tries to fake being something he's not to get the girl, and the girl is a princess in a huge castle, and there's an evil man with a serpent stick, and Robin Williams is running around being Robin Williams.
So basically what you're telling me is everyday life.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I get that. I connect with that on a very personal, deep level. So, they did a live-action remake of this.
You're an evil man with a stick?
They did a live-action... Actually, I kind of look like that with this red and black motif I got going on. Whoa. Anyways, live-action remake, like I was saying.
Say it again.
They did a live-action remake of this.
Yeah, they did.
And I didn't like it.
Did you know what? I did.
So, this is going to be an interesting review.
Cinefanatics split.
Yeah, pretty much. So overall, I mean, we could dive into a little bit of this. And first of all, there's no spoilers in this, but I mean, Aladdin gets Jasmine in the end.
Have you seen Aladdin the cartoon?
Everything says the end at the end.
It's like the cartoon, only there's human flesh.
So no spoilers at all.
Nope.
So diving in first into the story. I mean, there were some small changes done in the story to it.
You expect that when you're bringing a story from, that was done before in the past, whatever time, into the present. Now it has been a couple decades now, so you expect that.
I like it. It kind of jumped straight into Jasmine already out into the market of Agrabah.
Yeah.
So it kind of combines like the first 10, 15 minutes of the cartoon straight into this is how we're going to start with Aladdin meeting her, going into one jump ahead. And
yeah, that's kind of the big thing you have going into this movie is it really just jumps in and says, here's the story. It's presenting everything to you as, you've known from the original. It's going, here's a story, this, we're in it, we're going, boom. And then it gets to a point where it's like, all right, now we're going to pump the brakes a little bit. We're going to tell you how we're doing the story this time, and we're just going to let things play out a little bit more naturally and slower than we've done so far.
But like some of these changes, I felt like because it did dive in, for example, straight into Jasmine meeting Aladdin right off the bat, we missed out on like what the cartoon does as far as setting up the character of Aladdin and his plights, and then setting up Jasmine and her plights. The stuff that they all have to worry about on their own before they start merging their combined issues. And I felt that was a little disjointed, disconnected from how it was in the cartoon.
But see, here's what I liked about that, though, is because they actually saved the time by doing both those things at the same exact time. You got to see the dichotomy of both of them playing off each other in their own experiences. I'm stuck on the streets. This is my life. I'm stuck in a palace. This is my life. And how those things kind of butt heads and play off of each other. I like that. I think that was a good thing. They didn't need to spend a whole lot of time on that because they wanted to save that time for other parts of the story.
And I agree on that. I kind of did weirdly like that, even though there's still the part of me from the childhood that wants it to be that separate bit. There was also a lot less focus, if you remember, on Jafar. And in the cartoon, Jafar really was kind of more of a sorcerer to begin with before he asked the genie to be a sorcerer.
Yeah.
He had like that weird hourglass thing that Iago would have to run on the treadmill to discover who the diamond in the rough of Aladdin is. Like all of that stuff. A lot of that was either extremely toned down or was completely eliminated. And really the only sorcerous thing about him in this was the snake staff like in the original cartoon.
And I think a large part of what they wanted to do is they wanted to keep the elements that would have been a cartoon or cartoonish. They wanted to keep that more so focused on the genie and how the genie interacted and reacted rather than play off of everybody else, because everybody else is a human. Everyone else is in the human world. They're flesh. They're human flesh. Like I said, they are in a real world environment. So you want to save the cartoon things for the elements that are actually a little bit more cartoon.
Which, I mean, that makes sense. But as far as like the acting goes, I mean, number one, right off the top, the real reason that probably anyone's going to watch this review is what was our opinion of
The Blue Man Group.
better known as Will Smith as the genie.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like, as far as looks go, there really wasn't that much of a departure from what we saw in the original trailer when he first popped up, and it broke the internet with the outcries of people screaming, "No!"
It's just the difference of you watching it on your itty bitty little teeny, see what I did there? Monitor on your computer to the big wide movie screen.
Phenomenal
viewing
powers.
Itty bitty little viewing screen.
But he just looked weird. He looked awkward, and I do appreciate the fact that they shifted his appearance to more of a human look throughout most of the movie, with the nods to the blue genie here and there.
And I appreciate that too. I like switching over to human Will Smith as well. The thing of the genie is I will partially agree with you. I think that is one of the places where the CGI was kind of rough. So you have instances where it does look a little weird, but at the same time, if you just, for me, I got so lost in the story that stuff kind of really didn't matter to me as much. It just didn't matter as much for me that he looked a little off. I wasn't taken out of the story because of it.
I would say one thing that was like extremely positive for the genie is Will Smith really did a good job of not being Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Which I think was at the heart and soul of what he was trying to do. That was what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Not only put on a performance as the genie, but also not being Robin Williams.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. So I've heard interviews with him before going to see this movie where he was saying that the style that he wanted to infuse into this genie was much less Robin Williams style of stand-up, and much more like him infusing kind of like his Fresh Prince persona, sarcastic and witty humor that he had back then, along with maybe some homages to Robin Williams, which is what I think they pulled off. I think they pulled it off very well. You have the genie style of humor, which was a tint of Robin Williams' stand-up, but it is more of the genie's character than even that. And so you have that mixed with kind of the, okay, boy, listen to me, kind of sarcastic humor that he would have when dealing with Aladdin. And I thought the chemistry between them was fantastic, so that adds into that as well. But yeah, I think the worry that a lot of people had going to this was Robin Williams is so iconic as the genie. How's Will Smith going to do? He does fantastic. I thought he did fantastic. He really made it his own and just paid a really good homage to Robin as well.
And that's the thing is, that's both good and bad, because there really is no other way of portraying the genie except as an homage to Robin Williams. But at the same time, that means that it leaves absolutely no room for you to make that character your own.
To change anything about the character.
Yeah, that character has to be played as an homage and will never be anything other than an homage. Now, I'm saying that, but step aside from the fact that the genie character has been portrayed for the Aladdin Broadway show. And while I haven't seen the Broadway show, I have seen bits and pieces, and the acting that I've seen out of that is fantastic. And I think they do a very good job of being able to carry the genie with what little bits I've seen out of that.
Yeah.
But coming back to a movie format, it's going to be very hard to do something outside of Robin Williams.
Yeah. And so, I mean, so you have Will Smith as Genie. That really brings you into, especially when I said like his chemistry with Aladdin, and that was really good. It brings you to the rest of the cast here. You have you have Mina Massoud as Aladdin, and you have Naomi Scott as Jasmine. I thought both of them pitch perfect. I loved absolutely everything about both of them in those roles. This person,
And here's the thing, and this kind of goes back into like how the whole movie was. I feel like it was mostly carried by the cast in this aspect, but this movie overall didn't really feel that much different than one of those like live Broadway on TV, like Grease Live or Rent Live, when a person doesn't twist their ankle and actually makes it live or not live or whatever. I don't feel like it was that much better than that. It did look like it was a stage performance with set pieces that the actors were just moving through, and less like a full-on theatrical event.
My favorite part of live performances on TV, though, is when they get CGI elephants to walk through the middle of the scene.
Now, granted, yes, this movie did have CGI, and if you set aside the fact this movie has CGI, it really does feel like one of those live TV shows, event things.
The thing is I definitely don't agree with that. I think that it definitely had that production value of a big screen film to me. I mean, there's just certain aspects that you just can't reproduce for a live stage performance, whether it's for TV or on the stage. And those are just kind of hard for me to overlook, as far as this is made for a movie screen. And because of that, like, I just got wrapped up into that world, that environment. It just fully immersed me, and I was just there the entire time with it.
But talking about how the cast works in this, I really feel like most everyone in the cast was miscast. Don't get me wrong, I like the actors. All the actors involved in this movie, I like them. Naomi Scott is fantastic as an actress. And I did like Mina Musad as Aladdin. Outside of the fact that I felt like his portrayal was just kind of dry and ordinary. I don't feel like there was anything really to connect to Aladdin in that.
Yeah.
And Jafar was evil, but he didn't quite have... And we mentioned this in a trailer reaction too, which you can't get that long-faced, sinister Jafar that we're used to. That's fine. I'm not necessarily saying I want to see the cartoon characters portrayed exactly as they look as cartoons on the big screen.
Right.
That being said, though, I do believe Nasim Perdad probably would have made a better Jasmine as far as looks go than Naomi Scott did, because she actually did look like Jasmine.
Yeah, she does, but at the same time, that's a take I can't stick with, just because Nasim Perdad is more of a comedian. I mean, she was known for SNL, so she I mean, that's the role she plays in the movie too. She plays a comedic, she plays up that tone more than anything else.
And she is in that regard. That is her role in this movie, which brings me back to another point. Jasmine's not supposed to have friends. Her only friends are supposed to be Raja. That's it.
I mean, again, you're going based off of a cartoon with limited... I mean, when you come to a live action, you have more space to play with more characters and have more interactions.
And I get that, but also still keeping in mind that while this isn't the cartoon, it is a live action version of the cartoon. It's not based on the Aladdin stories as a whole. It's based off the cartoon. It is a live action of the cartoon. So therefore, there needs to be nods and respects to that, as so much as Jasmine felt like that she was a loner, that she was singled out, that she has no friends, she doesn't know of an existence outside the palace. And again, her only friend is Raja.
I think the big thing, though, is understanding that changes have to come when a medium changes, when it gets updated for a different time period. She's got to have that support system as well behind her. And then just the degree of everybody changes, all the characters change, including, having Marwan Kenzari playing Jafar, and he is playing more of that con man style also than he is the kind of character. My big thing with him, though, and this is like one of the two things I didn't like about it, is they kind of wrapped up his character really quick there at the end, which I understand they kind of did that in the cartoon as well. He turned into the genie in the cartoon, and then boom, he was gone. So I just wanted them to play around in that pool a little bit more in the live action version, and that's one of the things I wanted them to expand upon, and they really didn't.
Yeah. He just didn't come out with that I'm a bad guy type of villainy, I would say, at the end.
Towards the end, no. I think he had that throughout the rest. But I think the other thing I didn't really like as much was, and it's not so much that I didn't like the song, but Jasmine's Speechless. I actually liked the song. I thought the song was fine. I just thought they didn't put it in the right place in the movie. Kind of felt, and here we're gonna have the song. Putting the song right here. Don't ask questions why it's right here. It's just right here. It didn't really feel like it fit in the spot it was. I understand why they put it there for her character development. I just don't feel like the tone of it really fit with the tone of what else was happening in that scene.
Or that song in general, even when she sang it at the beginning, it was just like, even right off the get-go, her starting to sing that song, I knew it was out of place.
I thought it was fine there. I just didn't think it was fine later on.
As far as the rest of the songs for the movie, again, there were different takes on it, especially Prince Ali, because that is a very Will Smith genie-centric song.
Or A Friend Like Me.
So here's the thing. I don't think His Friend Like Me was absolutely terrible. I don't like his Prince Ali. There were parts of Prince Ali that I did like, but I felt like overall Prince Ali was not
talking about
good.
Like the homages that they made in that back to the original cartoon.
Yeah, and that was a little weird, and it just, I don't feel like it worked. Friend Like Me, there was parts of it that worked and worked very well. The one jump ahead wasn't too bad. There was the nods to the cartoon in that song that I thought were done very well. But A Whole New World sold that entire movie. That was the best song of the movie, which works because that's almost the best song of the original cartoon as well.
Yeah, and then, see, that's where we're split again, because I think they nailed it on every one of these songs, bringing it up to date, bringing them into how you would see the songs played out now, kind of keeping up with the culture and the times now. And I think that's a huge thing that I did like, is kind of the updates to the times, updates to the culture, keeping in step with some of the culture that you would find in that area of the world, and then just really just tying it all together. I thought it was really great. I think a lot of the smaller changes that they made throughout the story were really good as well, including some of the things with the genie towards both ends of the movie. I thought that was a lot of fun, the way they tied that together with some of the character elements they did with him there.
Which was I would say it was a nice nod to the cartoon. It was a very subtle nod to the cartoon, if you're familiar with that. And I don't want to give that away, because
can't give that away, because that is different.
That was one that I would say I did appreciate. And yeah, it just, I don't know, just I didn't feel right about this movie. I really wanted it. Like, I did go in with an open mind, knowing that, look, this has a very strong possibility of being good.
Yep.
Like, watching the trailers, I was thinking this could potentially be good. The only time I really felt negative was when we first saw the genie, and like the rest of the internet, just like, I don't know about this one. But otherwise, there was a lot of good shots from this, and I thought it had good potential, but I feel like ultimately it just fell flat for me. I will mention, though, one thing I really liked, though, were the animals. Going back to Raja, I think the three animals, Raja, Abu, and Iago, I thought were done very well. Yeah. Iago especially, the fact that it really was like a live parrot and not a Gilbert Godfrey caricature like the cartoon was. Yeah.
Them and the carpet, I thought, were all done very well.
The carpet was good as well, especially with the carpet being a completely CGI
creation. Yeah.
Character, carpet,
sure.
Furnishing, I don't know. And then the other thing was the fact that Abu's face was CGI, and I thought that was a little off, but otherwise the rest of them were all fantastic.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, what do you score in this movie? I mean, you're not it's going to be different than me.
I mean, I may watch it again eventually, but I don't have high hopes for this. And it's definitely not going to land on any of my top 2019 movies list. I'm probably going to go, let's say, about 1.5 magic lamps.
Nice. I am a little bit different, obviously. This movie just grabbed me right from the beginning. I was in it. I didn't want to leave. I just felt the magic all the way through. Loved it. I think, surprisingly, this is going to be pretty high up on my list come the end of the year, give or take some of the other movies that we get, seeing where it ends up. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5 Magic Lamps. I really enjoyed it. I think families are going to enjoy it. I think kids are going to enjoy it. I think it's obviously going to get split on those of us who grew up with the original, but for the most part, I found it really enjoyable, quite lovely.
Yeah, so that's going to be it for our review of this movie. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you agree with him? Or do you agree with me and it's like, kind of lacking just a little bit? Let us know down below. Also, are you looking forward to the live action Lion King movie? And how do you think Aladdin is potentially going to stack against it? Let's talk about that down in the comments as well. What did you think of this review? Hit us up with a like or a dislike, depending on whose favor I guess you're in favor of. Yeah. And up here, there is a subscribe button. Over here off to the side are a couple other videos that we have done. And as always,
this movie is a diamond in the rough. Diamond.
Rough. Later.
See ya.
Your mom's a diamond in the rough.
We have the same mom, you weirdo.
Oh, yeah.